Hi, I thought I'd do a monthly update on where I am with my work. I haven't really talked about it much in a while. I don't know if I'll do this every month, but I thought I'll do one this month, and if I need to skip a couple of months, I will. So, where are we at the moment? It's April. My duology with Angry Robot books, The Quest for Heroes, has wrapped up. That's The Coward and the Warrior. That's all done. The Coward came out in 2021, and The Warrior came out in 2022, August just gone. Here we are in 2023. My new trilogy has been announced, if you're not already aware. It's a historical fantasy series set in 13th century Persia. And the first book, the Judas Blossom, you can see the cover here, comes out on the 11th of July this year. So where are we with the trilogy? The first book is completely done. All of the edits, all of the proofs, everything is done. I've had some advanced reading copies like this one. It's not the final cover, it's just an uncorrected proof. These have gone out to some people, early reviewers, trade press and so on. Some early people have had it for cover quotes already, and some authors have given me some wonderful quotes, and they will be appearing very soon. At the moment, full reviews are embargoed, but they'll start coming out over the next couple of months, April, May, in the lead up to the book. But you can go and pre-order it now if you want. There's more information online about the book if you're interested. But it's historical fantasy, which is something I've never done. It's set in 13th century Persia, which as far as I can tell doesn't exist in terms of historical fantasy. There's historical fiction set in other parts of the world. Mongolia and the Mongols are connected to this story, but there are no stories set within Persia and the surrounding countries which the book is set. So that's quite a unique thing. I'm hoping that interests people and gives them a chance to explore a part of the world and a part of history they're probably not familiar with. So this won't feel like a generic sword and sorcery, going on a quest, farm boy type story. It's not that at all. It's quite complicated. There's politics, there's history, and I've had to massage some of that to make it into a cohesive story and dramatic one that flows. So historians will get upset, but then again, it's not supposed to be a historic retelling, and there is some fantastical elements in there. So there you go. Book 1 comes out in July. Book 2, there is a title. I can't tell you what it is, but we've got a working title at the moment. I've seen the early proofs of the cover for that. It's still going to need some developing, but Book 2 is written. I handed it in at Christmas 2022. I'll start getting edits in the next couple of months, and we'll start revising it and editing it, doing a few edits with my editor and the publisher, then a copy editor, then a proofreader, and in the meantime we'll work on the PR and so on. I should also say this week actually I've just wrapped up a call with the lady, the actress who is doing the audiobook for the Judas Blossom, which is the first book. So it will be out in paperback, ebook and audiobook. All of the trilogy will be from Angry Robot Books again, which is my publisher. So book 2, yes, I'll start doing edits on that. I did another personal edit for myself in the lead up to Christmas. Having finished the final stuff on book 1, it was fresh in my mind. Then I went through book 2 again, tidied it, polished it, trimmed out a couple of thousand words, some of my crutch words, and really just made it a lot better. So I was happy with book 2. Feedback so far on the Judas Blossom has been very positive. People have said it's very different to anything they've seen before. It's very unique, which I think is really good. It'll help it stand out and differentiate it. There are some things you can point to that are similar, but there's nothing that falls within that same space. So maybe this will be another area that I'll explore in the future. If it does well, people might want to see more of this kind of a story. So I might do something like that. But in the meantime, I'm just focused on what I'm doing. I've got other ideas, but there's no point addressing them or working on them right now. I have to kind of just focus on the thing that I'm doing. And I think that's part of the thing of being a writer is, even though I'm working on the next book and ideas for the one after that, right now all my focus has to be on the book that I'm writing. So 1 is done, 2 will go into edit soon. I'm writing book 3 as we speak now in the trilogy. I'm wrapping it up, and book 1 hasn't even come out. And the books will be coming out July for the next 3 years. The book that I'm working on now will be coming out in 2025, which seems ridiculous, but when you factor in how long it takes to get things done in traditional publishing, I know it is slower compared to self-publishing, but I'm committed to that process for lots of reasons, mostly time constraints for me and focusing on other things, and I'd rather give someone else the work to do and let them go off and do it so I have time to do other things. Book 3, I've made a good start. My deadline is Christmas 2023, so I've got plenty of time. I'm about 30,000 words into it, and my books are relatively short compared to some of the big boys that, the 200, 300, 400,000 word things. My book is probably going to be somewhere around 110, 120,000. Because I'm wrapping up the trilogy, it might be a little bit longer, but it'll fall somewhere in that space. What I tend to do is overwrite and then cut things down and trim things out. It's a lot easier for me to do that than write something and try and add things in. If I've got too many threads or something like that, that can kind of complicate things. But I'm trying to wrap up the trilogy in a cohesive way, a satisfying story arc for all of the characters, and throw some surprises in there for the readers at the same time so that nobody sees it coming. And when you get comments from readers, or particularly the early stages from my editor who is shocked, I know I'm doing a good job if I've surprised them. So that's a really good feeling. Very happy with the series. I'm really pleased with how it's gone. I'm really pleased with the feedback on book one. Now we're in the awkward waiting period. I can't really do anything on book one. It's done, it's out of my hands. Now it's up to the readers and the reviewers. So expect to see more of me on social media and on YouTube doing interviews and blogs and podcasts and all over social media, Instagram and Twitter and so on, talking about the book and the series. I've got some events coming up where I'll be talking about it too. I'm at EasterCon, which is an annual thing this Easter in Birmingham this year. It moves around the UK. Then the book will be launched in July. And then in September, I'm doing FantasyCon, which is another annual science fiction, predominantly fantasy convention in the UK. Also moves around the country, and this year is also in Birmingham. So two very easy ones for me to get to from where I live. And I might be doing some other events in the UK. At the moment, there are no plans to do any other events overseas this year. If this book does really well and I get invites to conventions in other places, then that would be great. But it's all a case of getting the invite and waiting to see. Next month is London Book Fair. My agent will obviously taking the Judas Blossom and the whole trilogy to try and sell it to other foreign rights overseas publishers. So whether or not it will be translated into other languages is also beyond my control. And then we'll see if they're interested in it. Other territories favour fantasy and some don't. It depends upon the country. As I did in an interview recently with Sadir, who's from Sweden, he was saying they don't read fantasy. It's just not something they really are interested in as a people as a whole. Therefore, fantasy is not a big thing, so I'm probably not going to sell into the Swedish market. But in other territories, I know fantasy is very big, but it has to be what their readers will know, and the publisher of that particular country will know. If my agent presents this type of book is like this, and Stephen's written it about this, they might say, yeah, that's for us, or I'm not sure. So I guess we'll wait and see. A lot of wait and see with this kind of thing.